Cool. So yeah, so something that I did today that probably should have done a lot sooner, and I did with sincerity, but I hadn't done with stowaway, is like actually go through and put all like the expenses and everything, like just everything that I could possibly grab data for, to figure out, what the heck will I be able to afford? Um, and it was like, it was eye opening. Like I physically cannot afford more than 100 customers in my in my first like year, like on my own, um, which basically taught me that I need to do like, so obviously I need to raise money. That's the obvious. Um, um, but that I need to like charge basically, I think what I'm gonna end up doing is launching and like having 100 coupon codes for like friends and family and like anybody else who's willing to sign up. I don't think it's that easy to get 100 people to sign up, but I think it is like, I've got 200 people at the user interview exchange and I do literally nothing on it. So, um, but, but I think what I'm going to do is limit it by like charging per month, like something that I don't think anybody will pay, which is to cover my expenses, which is like $4 a month, um, for the first year. And that, I think instead of doing like a completely closed beta, like I think I'm just going to charge like a price that I'm like, you probably won't pay for it. You probably shouldn't, but like, if you want to, you're welcome to, and I won't lose money if you pay this. So I'm really glad that I finally put that in a spreadsheet and looked at it and really hashed it out, figure out exactly where the expenses are, and kind of predict it out. So, and
So
like,
sorry, why do you say you couldn't afford more than 100 customers?
because because the APIs that I'm using at the beginning are like really, really expensive, and they get way cheaper when you get bulk, like way cheaper. Um, and because I can't afford to get to the bulk level, um, then I have to pay for like the pay as you go level. And so each customer will end up costing like, I'll end up losing money at the beginning. I think based on my predictions, I'll end up losing $3.85 per customer per month
Okay.
at the beginning. And a lot of that is because of like, there's the fixed API, which is the budget your trip API, which is $200 a month, which like I kind of wrote off, like was like, oh, that's like nothing, $200 a month. But like when you think about it annually, and if I think about it coming out of my pocket, that's actually comes out to like 2,400 a month, which isn't a ton, but like annualized over like a small amount of customers ends up being kind of a large amount of the cost.
Yeah.
Um, and there's this just kind of this gap between like when it's like when I'm using these like the beginner level of the APIs where it's like really expensive and like, but still makes more sense than getting to like the bulk level of them. There's just this gap of like, oh, this is why we need venture capital to like cover that gap.
Yeah.
Because literally just from API costs, just from API costs per user per year in year one, so starting in like July, $53. That's just technology is my estimate.
Okay.
The next year, if I hit this like crazy goal, uh, it goes down to $10.50.
Okay.
So, it's like a massive, massive, massive difference.
Yeah. And so that would be if you get a certain number of customers.
Yeah, that's with, and so for that next year, and mind you, this is me imagining that I get $750,000 of capital to spend on marketing and 750, yeah, to spend on marketing and a giant campaign and all, and like some extra help. Um, so that's estimating that I get 25,000 customers in the next year.
Okay.
And here's why I actually don't think that that's insane. Like I was looking at the competitors in this space, like one who like I think does a really good job, but you don't hear about them necessarily in the news or even if you're super in the fintech area. Um, and they've got 5 million customers. Um, so when I kind of looked at my numbers, I'm like, these numbers look on paper like kind of ridiculous, but it's also like doable. Um, they charge a monthly fee. Uh, so
Okay.
and if you look at Credit Karma has 100 million customers. So
Okay.
and that's
Wow.
like my main competitor. So a third of the United States is a customer of theirs.
Gotcha. All right, can you hang on one second? The laser's done.
Yeah.
All right, thanks.
No, I imagine like a laser just going wild in your garage right now, just lasering everything.
Close. It's close.
Nice.
Alexa, go home.
I think your camera's out of sync,
Yeah, it is.
but anyways, I can say saying the spreadsheet if you're interested, but it's basically what it says is like that's when I roll this out, if I get it out on time, like 100 coupon codes, and I'm having to charge people if I don't get investment. And I don't necessarily think they'll sign up for it. But perhaps they will.
Yeah.
So
I'm trying to think if there's like an alternative, like could you even just recoup some of the costs, like charge them less initially, or does it make sense to try to charge, or I don't know.
it yeah, it's that's I mean, certainly it doesn't have to be $4. It could be like $2 a month. Um, and that could cover some more, but still not significantly based on just what I have laying around in my bank account.
Yeah.
And also
then,
like
I don't
my
know
revenue.
what like conventional wisdom would say is the right approach there. If it is, I feel like it's to charge and try to get people like, because they're not necessarily going to know whether it's like you're a big established app or whether you're just starting out, right? Or like how many users you have. Like I tend to have this mindset of like your first few users are going to be free because you have to convince them of the value, but I don't know that that's always the right mindset. I feel like it's probably not the right mindset actually. Like you're better off just charging to see if people sign up, I would think.
Yeah, I mean, I prefer not to, but I think because I was kind of hoping on to compete on the stage of we don't charge and the others do.
Okay.
Because we have this alternative model, but like, I think it's, and if people sign up, not necessarily expecting that they do, but if they do, then I will be able to figure out who are the people that need this the most, who are the people that are willing to pay like money to save. Like, come on, like, let me understand that market a little bit more. There are plenty. I mean, Albert has what, five? I just said 5 million users. So. But so there's a whole bunch of stuff that I learned, and my estimates are really really conservative in terms of revenue estimates. It's basically estimating that I make like no revenue, which obviously like I might make revenue. So if I do end up making revenue, then that'd be nice. But I want to be able to launch this and be like, not shut it down 5 months later because I literally ran out of money.
Right.
Um, so
Yeah, it sounds like getting funding is probably pretty important, given all that.
yeah, I kind of tweaked all the numbers to see what like conversions metrics I need to hit to basically be able to, if I was going to raise 750K, like what that would look like. How many people could I hire? What would my cost per user acquisition be? And then like what do my conversion rates have to be? And it all kind of has to go right. But obviously, if you just keep dragging the numbers out like 4 years, like this is like one of the biggest businesses you've ever seen. Because like it's all fucking made up, but but there is the potential there. I think someone should invest in it.
Mhm.
I'm talking to a guy who's an investor, my first investor that I'm talking to. Well, official. Actually, even this isn't even really official. He's from my hometown, Westwood.
Okay.
And I saw him, and he was in my like investor CRM database that you mentioned. You were like, have you thought about reaching out or how I'm going to reach out? And so I found the database that I had of like investors. And he was in there, and I just reached out to him on LinkedIn, and he just being like, hey, we have like some of his mutual connections with mine were like pretty cool people that I like and personally know. And I was like, hey, like, we're both from Westwood and like whatever. And he literally texted me back like 12 hours later.
Mhm.
How did you get my phone number?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. Is it linked to your LinkedIn somehow? Do you have it listed?
I don't think maybe.
Let me see.
Maybe it is. Um,
Or is it on your?
That's probably the easy. That's probably what it is. My
You do 781-775-0799?
yeah. Where's that?
Yeah.
That? It's literally on my LinkedIn.
Yeah. Your email is to trokus21 at
Well,
yahoo.com. Your
that
birthday.
wait, my like old timey email.
That must be what is linked to LinkedIn, presumably.
How do you see that?
So I think you have to be on desktop, but you go to contact info right below your name.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, that's so funny. I had no idea. That's interesting.
So that's my guess of how.
That explains it. Yeah. But I've never had someone do that. Someone just like text. I don't know.
Yeah, that is interesting.
He texted too, like, I don't generally link in with people I haven't had a conversation with. So let's have a conversation, which is a very different way to manage a LinkedIn account. Like,
Yeah, I feel like usually it's the other way.
yeah, so I kind of dig it. So it'll be interesting to see if I can get some advice from him. He's also a mass challenge mentor. So hopefully maybe there's a foot somewhere that I
So how are you going to approach the conversation?
can tell him what I'm working on. Basically tell him my journey, get to know him, and probably the ask will probably be, if it seems like it's going well and he seems interested, I think there's an equally likely chance that he looks at me, he's like, you are literally a psycho. But if he's interested, I think I'll probably ask for like a reference to Mass Challenge. That'll be like the ask I have lined up.
Yeah. And advice, I'd ask for advice too. I mean, that may come either way, but
yeah.
give you his thoughts on it.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting. And then, I mean, perhaps I do need to start reaching out to other to like real investors and like start fostering these relationships.
Mhm.
At least.
But that's a good first step. Talk to him and see if something comes out of it, or if you get some advice. Or
Yeah.
thoughts, good feedback at least.
Yeah, definitely. Sorry, I just talked about me and my business, but I was pretty fascinated by the spreadsheet where I finally like laid everything out, and I don't know, I just really want to share that.
Yeah, that's good. Good that you did that and at least have that data point now.
I reached out to Dwala asking if they had any, on your recommendation, asking if they had any startup deals. The guy emailed me back 30 seconds later, be like, nope. And I was like, okay. Yeah.
Did you pitch it as I might go? Did they have a competitor? Like, did you pitch it as I might go with your competitor?
So I did look. Literally, there just isn't. Like, I'm just like, I'm. So Stripe, but Stripe is more expensive. And I'm certain like Oracle and SAP do this, or you know what I mean? Like on a bigger scale, I'm certain that there are some folks whose ever infrastructure they're building on top of, at some point you could contact them, but yeah, it wasn't easy to find.
Okay.
And I did look. Yeah.
Too bad. That would be
Yeah.
nice to play it off, play them off of their competitor.
I mean, so like their fees aren't super expensive. It's just like, do I have 12 grand laying around? No. So I have to go on the pay as you go plan. And then that's when it gets expensive. If you have 12 grand laying around, then you just sign an annual contract and like basically everything's free after that. It's $1 a customer. But I don't have that money laying around. So
But if you got investment, you would.
exactly.
Yeah.
And then I can take the savings and actually put it into marketing. But I was pretty stoked on this. I got pretty far in integrating the payments. Like my app is like, I'm gonna jinx it. I don't want to, but like it's getting close. Like my goals for the next 2 weeks, like my goal is to finish the payments integration, like being able to set up and transfer money from one of your own bank accounts to one of your own bank accounts, in an automated way. Just kind of the simple thing, but getting everything right. So
Nice.
and that's like, and then if I get that right, then a lot of the stuff I have left is getting security absolutely nailed down, which I budgeted a week for that. Getting like analytics, Crashalytics, and all that stuff, and then getting hooked up with an affiliate at some point to like pay for this stuff.
So that's like the travel booking affiliate. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. So I was looking at that. Actually, I spent a little time today looking at that too. So one is the travel booking. I think I'll probably go with Expedia at the beginning, as my partner.
Okay.
And then the other one is the savings account. So if you don't already have a travel fund, set up a savings account as your travel fund. And like, those are the two bits where I expect to make money or hope to make money.
Okay. Would that be with like an online bank, the savings account?
Yeah, I think I haven't heard back from Capital One, so I gotta like reach out to them a little bit more, because I'd really like to use their API so people can sign up for a Capital One account through my app. If they're offering a referral. If not, I'll probably direct folks to the CIT bank account, which is like $75. If someone signs up, it's like a $75 referral.
Oh wow. Okay.
But I'm expecting those conversions to be at like, I'm expecting the percentage of folks that sign up in the first year that get a new savings account through my referral to only be like 5%.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how did you come up with that estimate? Just sort of a guess.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I mean, I would guess it'd be pretty low too. Like most people probably already have banks where they could easily set up a new account and would prefer to keep it. I mean, you could sort of pitch the advantage of it's harder to touch your money if it's in this account, you know, if it's in a separate account, like you'll be less tempted to steal from yourself to pay for monthly expenses or something.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah. Write that down. Yeah, because as I have it designed right now, it's not like pitched. It's just like, all right, set up your travel fund, or if you don't have one, open a new one. But there is an advantage because it happens to be one of the highest interest savings accounts now. In this market, high interest savings means 0.4%.
Yeah.
So, and this is a travel fund that you're going to end up using in like a year and a half. So like, what does that mean? Like $4 for you maybe, but still starting to optimize some of your products to be like the best that they can be.
Yeah.
And so I think I do need to actually somehow make that clearer.
There's no like sign up bonus, is there? Like, or I wonder if you could share the referral bonus or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, oh, you sign up for this, and then somehow we know that that customer did, and then I put 37 out of the 75 into their bank account.
Yeah. Or even like 25, you know, it doesn't even have to be half of it. Could be just like a portion. But then I think that would increase signups, right? If they got $25 off the bat or something like that.
Yeah, definitely. That's what they have a bunch of terms and conditions on them. And I expect that incentivizing people to is probably not allowed, but worth asking.
Right.
Yeah.
Or if there's another partner that does it automatically, like gives a referral bonus to both people or something like that.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I only went to one referral network, which is like the biggest, but I haven't checked out any of the others. And then like trying to not do too much in this first version of the app, but there's a lot of money to be made in the credit card referral space too. And that's like a really big opportunity for helping you save for travel, is getting points by signing up for a new credit card, if that makes sense for you. But I just don't think I'm going to have that. I won't have that up by July 1. I'm reusing so much code. It's actually like, I'm pretty stoked. Like last night, I basically threw together a bunch of stuff that the first time around took me a week and a half, and I put it together in maybe 5 hours last night.
Nice.
So it's been really, really helpful. Yeah.
When do you find yourself working on this? I don't know if I've asked you that before. Like when is your most productive time, just out of curiosity?
I would love to work on it all day, every day, if it was up to me. So it's whenever I can, but I've usually will spend the better part of a day, most of the day, doing my like marketing agency stuff.
Yeah.
And then come 4 or 5 p.m. switch over.
Okay.
And then last night I told myself I could have a beer if I worked from 4 and like sprinted until 10, basically just straight coding for 6 hours. And yesterday I coded the front end and coded the back end of connecting your bank account to my app, which I was super stoked on.
Nice.
Shitty designs, but it's good enough.
Yeah, I'm gonna start, right?
Yeah.
But so evenings is when you spend that's when you tend to do most of your working on.
Yeah, definitely. What about you? I know you're a morning person, right?
I am, but I wake up. So I try to wake up at usually I'm out of bed by 6:45. I try to like start work by 9. And but that between time, like usually I try to work out somehow. And then I like to, the first thing I do is make coffee and then usually lay in my hammock or sit in the chair behind me and either read some combination of reading, meditating, and just like sitting quietly. And then I feel like I always get distracted by something, like watching. I was doing some like LinkedIn learning courses this morning, just like exploring them. Actually, the ones about industrial design was what I was watching, just because it's
Cool.
related to like the laser cutting stuff, and it may be something I kind of explored, like just as a to learn, and I think it could benefit my design work for the business. So, and it's interesting, but so yeah, I feel like, and then I tend to, because of that, I like, and then I make breakfast and shower, and so I rarely have time to work on anything productive in the morning. That was like my initial plan, was to try to set aside at least 30 minutes in the morning to work on New England carving, and it just doesn't ever seem to happen. When I have like an order to get out, usually I'll do that in the morning. If I like, I'll have created the order. If I have to ship it, package it up, I'll do that in the morning. But I haven't had an online order in weeks now, so I haven't had to do that at all.
Is that unusual? I feel like you were getting online orders more frequently than that.
Yeah, it's been really slow since like mid-February.
Hmm.
I'm so my Etsy stats are. Sorry, my mouse wasn't.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. It's something I've been, yeah, I'm kind of curious about. I'm not spending too much time worrying about it because I'm staying really busy with the craft fairs. But so for the last 30 days on Etsy, I have 3 orders, 3 sales, totaling $307 in revenue. That's down 53% from last year. But my views and visits are up over 100% from last year. So like my conversion rate is way down, basically. So I've raised prices. I don't know if that's what it is. I don't know if I would say Etsy might be like pushing me down in their rankings, because I don't do a lot to like keep up with my listings and update them and stuff. Like I think you're supposed to be adding new photos periodically and stuff. But that in a way then doesn't make sense. Like why would my visits and views be up, but my revenue just be down? So I don't know if it's like pandemic things, related, like people were shopping a lot last year, but this was like the beginning of the pandemic kind of, this time last year. So I don't know. It does bother me a little bit, but at the same time, I am like kind of swamped with keeping up with the craft fair stuff. So I'm just not worrying about it right now.
Yeah.
I'm going to chalk it up to having raised prices, I think, but I don't know. Some of them I really haven't raised that much. So I don't know. It's weird.
What's the revenue comparison?
Down 53%.
That's revenue. That's not.
Yeah.
No,
So I sold 655 in this period last year, and this year I did 307. So I'm like, it's down, and I occasionally go on the Reddit. There's like an Etsy seller community on Reddit, and other people are complaining about their sales being down some, but like some people get multiple sales a day, and they're small items, I'm sure, but I've never had that volume. Like I would get 1 to 2 orders a week generally is like usually the max might be like 3 to 4, in the holidays there's a lot, but like in a normal time during the year, it's usually about 1 to 2 a week. So I've just never I shut off ads, so I'm not running ads or anything, and that could be part of it. But they're still doing the offsite ads, so even those aren't getting me any orders. So I don't know. It's just really weird.
A view is when they will click into the actual item itself or something.
That's a good question.
I don't mean to harp on it, because I know you've got other priorities, and realistically, $300 difference isn't making or breaking. But
yeah, I don't know if views are like unique or something. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm bothered by it, but I just don't. I'm not as concerned, only because I'm busy with craft fairs. But like it concerns me when that slows down, that my revenue is way down, because I would like to see it growing constantly.
Yeah, all channels.
Yeah.
But that's like literally that the difference for that period is like half of what you did.
Right.
Like
For the last 30 days.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or even at just one craft fair.
What's that?
Even at just one craft fair.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's more
So
than, yeah.
it's not like it's
more than we did all month.
yeah. Cool.
I was realizing on the craft fair front, I did one silly thing. So the Boston Open Market's on Saturdays, every Saturday between last Saturday and the end of November. And then SOA is every Sunday, also in Boston. I think they also started on Sunday, this past Sunday, and then they go till like through October, I think. But I'm doing each one 4 times, but not once did I schedule the 2 on the same weekend. So like there's in a couple weeks, I think in June sometime, I'm doing SOA one weekend and then the open market the next weekend or something. I was like, why? I don't know why I did that. Some of it, well, so SOA, I didn't get accepted to everything I applied to because they had a lot less vendors this year than they usually have because of like they're basically expanding the farmers market. So I'm kind of not having high hopes for SOA this year. I just don't know that there's going to be a ton of people unless they kind of release with the release of the COVID restrictions. Like maybe they'll open it up to more vendors. I don't know. But anyway, I didn't get into all the dates I applied for there. But then I knew what dates I got before I applied to the open market. And so I easily could have like picked the dates smarter. So I don't know if I may try to add the Saturdays when I know I'm doing SOA and just do those at the same time and or see if I can move my registration from one Saturday to another. Because that would make a lot more sense for me to just do the open market on Saturday and then SOA on Sunday.
Yeah.
Because I think I'm going to do sort of the similar approach between the two of like focus more on the smaller dollar value things, not the big stuff. So I need to adjust that. I don't know why I didn't do that when I signed up for them. It was kind of a silly oversight.
Like, I mean, at one point you were talking about like, keeping one day. I think you were talking about keeping one day kind of sacred, not filling up every single day with craft fairs. But if you're coming all the way out to Boston, you might as well just stay over and then.
Yeah. Right. Because Caitlin lives in Arlington, so it was like 20-minute drive or something to Copley, and it's comparable.
Yeah.
And then because it's silly to like go there for 2 consecutive weekends and only stay one day of the 2.
Yeah.
So I have to figure that out. But so I'm doing next weekend I have SOA, I think. Or something. Yeah, this weekend I have Mother's Day weekend craft festival. Oh no, next weekend I have one in Rentham. And then I'm doing SOA. So I could easily add an open market on the 22nd and then do SOA on Sunday. Maybe I try to do that and then I could move the open market that I'm doing on the 12th. Yeah, I'm doing SOA on the 6th of June and then the open market on the 12th. So it'd be great to have a weekend off because then I have the Father's Day weekend craft festival after that. Sorry, and I'm sort of thinking aloud here. I should try to move those around. I think SOA is going to be harder to move. It seemed like the open market will be easier because they accepted me in all their dates. And then they actually emailed last minute saying, hey, we have open spaces. So I feel like they'll be easier to move. That one's actually a lot more expensive. SOA was super cheap, I think, because
what did they charge?
So SOA is only $40 a time this year.
Wow.
It's usually $80, but I think because of the pandemic, so they're like because they have less vendors and stuff, they did it for $40. I think that's right, at least compared to $100 for the one last week.
Yeah, I think I saw on someone's Instagram that they're like limiting foot traffic this year or something.
They are. So I don't have high hopes for it. We'll see how it goes. But I am signed up to do a bunch. Hopefully the ones in the fall will be better. Like they'll have opened up more by then is my hope.
Have you had an opportunity to bring your bookmarks or try to sell your bookmarks to that local shop?
I haven't yet, no. it was on my list. I really didn't. I've been like flat out last week, and then this week I've been busy with other stuff. But like today, I was trying to cut stuff, and the next 2 nights I'll be just like flat out prepping for the craft fairs. It's not even that much. Like it doesn't feel like I sell that much stuff, but it just like it's kind of time consuming in the evening to create a whole bunch of stuff, and then like to have to paint it or stain it for the things that do, and then yeah, I just feel like I did sell a lot of earrings, so I actually have to like I'm gonna have to sit and thread a bunch of earrings onto. Um, it takes time to like put the hardware on and stuff.
Yeah.
And some of that, and I made some new earring designs, and then I need to cut them. I have walnut wood that I bought that's like dark, and so I need to cut some new earrings out of that because I've actually had some people buy. I feel like a few times, or at least somebody this past weekend, she was going to buy, like she was interested in the earrings, but she had kind of light colored hair, and she was worried about them not being dark enough to like show up in her hair. And the walnut's really dark wood, so like I didn't have a really dark color, so I've been just kind of sitting on the walnut, like I haven't been cutting with it, even though I've had it in stock for quite a while. So I'm going to cut some earrings out of that and see how they do.
Cool.
But yeah, and then I made some new designs. I don't know why. I didn't really need to, but I have some samples here.
Oh, sick. That's really cool.
They're all I did the teardrop because these tend to be really popular, and I only had like 2 designs.
Sweet.
This is one of the algorithmic designs using the reaction diffusion equation. What else? This one I use. This design is really popular. It's like actually one of the most popular bookmark designs. So
That's really cool.
This is another reaction diffusion one.
Oh, it's dope. Can you remind me what reaction diffusion? I know this is the third time it's been brought up, and so I know you've told me about it at least twice. But apologies.
Yeah, so it's just it's like an equation that, or yeah, it's basically an equation that simulates like some natural processes. So you can change the parameters and come up with, like this coral design type design, or more of like a cell design, or a this kind of bubble. So this is like sort of bubbles in surface tension.
Cool.
But yeah, you literally just simulate this. You're almost simulating like liquid. So you create rules of like a single pixel. You put a dye in it, which is essentially just make the pixel black, and then you create rules about what happens to the pixels around it as a result of that one. And so at every time step, it like takes that pixel and then figures out what to do to the ones around it based on the rules or the equation. And then you just calculate thousands of time steps, and you can actually see, if you look at my Instagram, you'll see it, like you can see it growing. And so it's basically, that's what that is. And then you mess with the 2 parameters and you completely change the result of it. So I just did that to create the different designs.
How many of those will you do before you'll be like, ooh, that's a good design? Will you like try like 20 and be like, that was kind of weird, and then like change the equation slightly? Or
so there's a website, like, let me just show you.
I'm trying to pull up your Instagram too.
So this guy's website shows, so these are some of the different designs you can get from different parameters. Is it this one? Yeah. So then this, you can also do it with like different colors and get kind of cool patterns and stuff. But so it's going to move really slow, but you can see. So that's essentially what it is. So you can't really tell it's moving, but it is. So I started it with 200 random starts. So essentially 200 drops of fluid. And then this is all running right now. This is the frame rate, so 60 frames per second. So each frame is like an iteration. It runs through and does, runs through this equation. And this is where you change the feed and the cave value, kill rate, feed and kill rate, I think is what it is. And you get different results.
They've
And
got Java. That's Java. What
it
else?
is Java, yeah. Processing is based on Java. They have it for like Python, and then they have a web-based one in it called P5.js. That's JavaScript. So I like this one because it is best for exporting SVGs. You can't really export SVGs from the JavaScript one. Though actually often what I do is just export a PNG and then use the trace function in Lightburn to trace the PNG because it's all black and white, so I can just
Yeah.
trace it.
Does that work pretty well? The trace function, and you use you don't use photo, you use that other
Yeah.
free
So
Photoshop. I forget what that's called.
it's actually no, I just use this one. So
Oh,
like
okay.
so these are the results of the reaction diffusion of different parameters. So like this one, I turned into a trivet. So you can just see it's black and white. I can go tools, trace image. And so now it's
Spot on. Yeah.
and then I can just, clean it up. I think for this one, I cut out this so you can I can actually edit the nodes here, just delete sections and then bring them together. So I can do that all right here in the software.
That's pretty sweet.
And so then for earrings, the way I was doing it was I have, my other earrings in here. And so I can bring in, this is one of the new designs. I don't know if I should do that one, but I can just pull out the shape of it. So I know it's always the same shape. And then, essentially just shrink that down. And then cut the shape.
That's sick.
That's more or less what I do.
Yeah. That's cool.
This is the turtle. That's the next thing I need to cut. The new turtle.
That's dope.
But yeah, so you can see this is, so I'll run, some of the other ones where you saw the file with a whole bunch of coral, because what I was planning to do, and I may still do it at some point, I made these and I was going to cut them all as 12-foot or 12-inch panels and then hang them. So have essentially a hanging wall of panels to be a divider between two rooms or something. But I just didn't ever do it yet.
It's pretty sick. That's really cool. I like seeing the process. That's really, that's really neat.
Yeah, it's fun. So I like that. I like designing, doing my own designs. So I also did some, I just play with shapes in here because you can, draw, let's say a square, and then, I can rotate it and see what shapes I make out of it. And then offset it, and so give it some thickness. Well, actually, you have to do it one at a time.
Were you always artistic?
Somewhat, I think, but it was never something I did a lot of. But my family has a lot of artistic people in it. So my cousin is an artist, and my grandmother went to RISD. It does a lot with sewing. She's more of fiber artist, so does a lot of sewing and stuff.
Cool.
So it's definitely in my blood, I would say. And it's just something I hadn't really played much with until recently.
I wish I was a good designer. It's one of these things that I can tell good design, which I think a lot of people can't, especially web and mobile design. Like I can notice good design and say what is good and what is bad, but I can't oftentimes build great web designs.
Yeah.
And so I just copy others, basically. I just, but I wish that I was I wish I was a talented designer. That'd be really cool.
I feel like what I'm doing, a lot of it doesn't Like, it doesn't feel like some of those things require that much talent. Like, you know, like this design was literally just taking triangles and rotating them and like shifting them, figuring like playing with spacing to see how it came out like that, spacing in the 2 dimensions. So it's like it's just triangles. You know what I mean? I don't know. And like I don't know that that one would be popular, but some of what I do is just that. It's just messing with shapes and it doesn't require all that much work. It's just sort of trial and error and playing with things till I see a shape that I'm like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, you are a good designer though. But, and that's what I feel like good designers would say is like, it's not that hard. Like I just do it, but that's because you're a good designer.
But I'm the same way with like with web design. I wouldn't be able to design a nice looking web page. I feel like so I do steal shamelessly if I have to design something like that.
Yeah. Which isn't the worst thing. It's worse to try and make something up be a bad designer and then try and make something up.
Yeah.
That's when it gets really bad.
I mean, people are used to certain things, right? So like certain design patterns and things. So it's you kind of have to steal to some extent unless you're trying to recreate or create something totally new.
Yeah. That's what something that I've been wanting to get to is like I take a ton of screenshots of like all the competitors apps.
Mhm.
And then I like whenever I'm gonna build a new component, I try and pull it from like what is everybody else doing and maybe take 2 of them and put them together.
Yeah.
But I don't have a good database yet of like all of the intro flows, which I think is really important. Because for some reason there were some I went through and I just like didn't take screenshots of every single screen. And I'm really frustrated because I can't go back and do it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn, I'd really like to have those, but well.
Just because you don't want to sign up for the service again.
That's part of it. Yeah. Like some of them are small too. Like there's this one that I was gonna use his services. I remember telling you about it. I was like really excited to use his services. And then I started digging into it and like, and basically he built technology that helps you do me-to-me transfers like way easier. And you get bulk pricing because it's through him who, resells basically these connections.
Okay.
But then I realized that I kind of, to reach the vision I want to get to and like down the line, like I need to actually have access to the underlying data. So I have to go and build it. And anyways, he has an app and he doesn't have that many customers. So like, I'm afraid that if I sign up for it and then ask him to delete all my information and sign up for it again, like he's going to be like, dude, what the heck? Because I already reached out to him for customer support. I don't know. But I don't want to like be obvious about like ripping off his UI. It's a good UI. It's not like incredible, but it's good. So that's one that I didn't take screenshots and I wish I did. Some you can find like the bigger competitors like Capital, you can find theirs online. But it's like actually when I worked at Forrester, I reviewed banking apps for functionality and some user experience for like the big banks.
Okay.
And so I got in the habit then for like, you have to take a screenshot of literally everything. Because we scored them and the scores meant a lot to them. And if they had an argument, we had to have evidence for it. So
Okay.
I've kind of gotten out of practice from that.
How did you get into that field or like to doing that for Forrester?
It was just, I mean, that was just the role that as a researcher, you kind of just support all the analysts above you. And that was just our team made money by reviewing banking mobile apps and stuff like that. And so, and we for sure made a lot of money by you then, like it's independent, right? It's an independent review, but then you then sell the right to say you are the best mobile app in the United States, or you're the best wealth management app in the United States, best insurance app, you're the best, and some countries more than other went crazy for it and would pay lots and lots of money for the right to say that, not to win because it was independent, but for the right to say that they were the best, according to Forrester.
So if they didn't buy that right, like somebody could look up the report, the rating, but they just couldn't use it in their marketing materials. Is that kind of the idea?
Yep. Yep. That's kind of how the market research world works. You know, Forrester writes independent research, and it's very honest. Some people think it isn't, but it is. It's like we can't be paid to write, you know, nice things, no matter how much people want to. But then if we write nice things, people then pay lots of money to repost that, basically.
Okay.
Saying like this independent review said we were like the best, you know, CRM for like, I don't know, some niche. So yeah, and for banking apps, it was the same. That's my team covered banking, wealth management, insurance, digital technologies for banking, wealth management, and insurance companies.
Interesting. Okay.
We had all the big ones. Yeah.
Yeah. So USA, you did them? I assume they're my bank.
Yep. Yep. Actually, USA would either win or come very, very close every year.
With best app.
Yeah. Yeah. And so we focused a lot on the like specific functionalities, got into user experience a little bit. It's harder to gauge. And USA, and also we covered the customer experience of banks, wealth management companies, and insurers. And USA and Navy Federal always came number 1 and 2 for like customer experience customer experience.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. I'm always really happy with them as a bank and insurance company. And
well, they're mutual too, you know.
Yeah.
So that's kind of their thing. It's like how Amica always comes really, really high in terms of customer experience because they're a mutual company. It's part of it.
What does that mean exactly?
You're like a part owner, and so they basically do right by you because you are a part owner of the company rather than just like a customer relationship.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they can still profit somehow, but like
yeah, I get like a little dividend every year. It's like, I don't know, $20 or something of profit share.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't know that. It's not important necessarily, but you do tend to get treated better at mutuals. Like it's like banking with a local bank. Same thing. You know, bigger scale. Yeah.
Yeah, I've used USA since I was like, I think I had a Bank of America account when I was in like high school. And then as soon as I could, I signed up for USA. I think when I was in college, because I was in ROTC, so I could sign up for the military bank. And so I did, and I've just used them since.
Yeah.
But they don't have business accounts. So when I set up my business account, I did Citizens Bank since it's local, like they have a branch here in Stowe. So nice. I wanted a place where they'd have enough ATMs, but still being a relatively local bank. That was kind of
I like briefly looked into business banks, and like the one that just came up all the time is Mercury. And like Mercury, I don't know, it just like always came up. I had never heard of them before.
Yeah, I haven't either. I used when I started Civic Arena, that like startup that I did, we used Capital One for Spark Business. But I knew with the craft fairs, obviously I was going to have a lot of cash. So I needed an easy place to be able to do cash. And there's no Capital One ATMs around here.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Cool. That's handling lots of money hasn't been the limiting factor for any of my businesses.
Yeah. Yeah. In-person businesses only, or isn't something you kind of worry about. So
yeah.
But I try to go deposit my cash after every craft fair. I do still, a decent number of people pay with cash, like, so there's always cash to deposit.
So what are you any things you're looking forward to? Any headlights for the next couple weeks?
I think it's just the craft fairs. so I said I have a 2-day one this weekend. I have the 1-day one, which will be new, coming up in 2 weeks. And then so after that. So basically I'll have 3 weekends in a row of craft fairs. And, so I think because of that, I'm not going to try to do anything else. Like
building,
even the first
staining,
email thing.
threading. Sounds like a lot of work in between craft fairs.
Yeah, it kind of is. And like Monday I usually get something done. Tuesdays, like I can't get anything done since I'm babysitting my niece usually till like I get home at like 8:30, 8:45, and I just don't feel like doing it. Like I'm not going to go start cutting something at that time. If there's like little things I can do, I might, but or like I may do something on my computer, but I'm not going to go down to the shop and start working usually at that time. So that kind of just leaves like tonight I may or may not do something, and then Thursday and Friday a little bit to like catch up with whatever I have to make for the following weekend. I'm going to try to make a little bit more proactively, probably like as much as I can. I mean, not in the next few weeks because I'm going to just be keeping up with the craft fairs, I think. After SOA on the 23rd, so I'm off that Memorial Day weekend. I'm not doing any, but and I'm probably going to go I've actually booked camping for the first part of that week. I just like need to get away, I think. And then Caitlin and I are going up to Maine that Friday, the weekend, like Friday through Sunday or Friday through Monday. I mean,
Nice.
and then I have a craft fair the following weekend, SOA on the 6th. So I have like a 2-week break there. Well, 1 week I'll be like out of pocket, and then the week after Memorial Day, I'll be just back into it again, prepping for the next craft fair. And then I have 3 weekends in a row of that. So I just think I'm not going to be doing a whole lot besides craft fair stuff. Like I'm still doing things to try to optimize craft fairs. Like I had to buy a bunch of stuff this week. My mesh panels came.
Oh,
Since
nice.
it's been raining, I haven't been able to test them out. But like I had to buy new earring cards and new bags, and I'm still trying to like make stuff to improve my craft fair display. So like instead of using paper signs, I switched them all to I laser cut signs, which was great for the wind because they tend to blow away the paper ones, but this time they really weren't blowing away. And then I need to come up with something for the solution there. That may not happen this week, but probably next week I should try to do it because I'm going to hit windy craft fairs, I know. So I need to have a solution for that. And just other stuff like that. So kind of everything I do is probably going to be around craft fair prep. I would still like to try to go stop into a shop and just sell try to do the wholesale thing because it's relatively low effort. I can stop in and just drop off my stuff and that's all it takes. And I still need to do the first email. That has not happened at all. So I think those will just carry over as goals, but I'm not going to hold myself to doing them in the next 2 weeks either.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm ready for a break Memorial Day. I'm going to take all these craft fairs as like a lesson. I'm just going to see how it goes basically and see whether I want to keep doing this many or like cut back. Because I think it's going to be kind of a learning experience.
Well, the metrics that you're using, like the fact that you're tracking that, it seems like a really good plan.
Yeah.
How much you made and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder if like, I don't know. I'm going to wait to see, to conjecture, but I'm going to try to just stick to the ones that are most effective. Like what I could find is maybe SOA, some combination of SOA and the open market, or like I should just do those every other week and do them on the same weekend. And like that should be my schedule. That could be what I figure out. And like, so I do them, so I give myself 2 weeks between if they tend to be the most lucrative. Because I mean, if I made $800 at open market, and then let's say I make, even 600 at SOA, like that's better than the craft fair I did 2 weeks ago combined. You know what I mean? And I paid less to do it. So like, it could just be that Boston is more lucrative for me than doing some of these other craft fairs. And so I'll just kind of only going to figure that out from doing it. Right.
Yeah.
And there are some people that do SOA every weekend. I mean, that's another option is like, I could just get on that circuit of like, or maybe doing it in May and June, take a break for July and August because it's hot and people don't come out as much. and then do September and October again, and then do the holiday, whatever holiday fairs are available. And like, that could be my schedule. So I don't know. I have to figure that out, but I'm just kind of taking the approach of like doing as many fairs as I can this year to try to see what happens. But I am looking forward to the one in July, the Wickford Art Festival. So that's the one I got into. I think I told you about. That should be a good one. It's big. Most of the people there, I think, are there. Like, there's a lot of people there to spend, and so I think I'll do well. I think I'll even make some bigger things, and I might do some new designs for that, because I actually do have the 2 weekends before it off. One of them is 4th of July weekend, but other than that, I have that weekend and then the weekend before it off from craft fairs. So it'll give me some time to like try to come up with some designs and stuff.
Yeah, I can't believe there was a moment in time where Jolly was also thrown into the mix. You got so much stuff on your plate.
I mean, like from like January, February, March, and I would say early April are relatively slow. Like
after holiday season, before craft fairs. Yeah, that makes sense.
So I think if I'm going to do Jolly, like that's probably, it might have to wait till then at this point before I really work on it again.
Yeah.
There is part of me that wants to talk to some of the organizers, like now that I sort of have some relationships. There's two in particular. So I'm doing multiple fairs with 2 different organizers. And so one of them, I just submitted one application and, picked all the fairs I wanted to do with her or with them. And then like got accepted or rejected. Basically, I got accepted to all of them. And then she says, if you want to be added to new ones, just email me. Like once you're in the system, kind of. But then the other one she does, and her form is all built on through the website. I don't know what she used, but it's not like a type form or anything like that. And then the other one uses Jot forms. She has separate applications for each fair. Mm-hmm. It's not that involved or invasive, but like it's, I still had to enter the same information over and over again to do the different fairs. And some of it was that she didn't have, like, I think at the beginning of the year, she didn't have all the fairs planned out, or like she knew which ones she was going to do, but didn't have dates nailed down or things like that yet. So that was always one of my ideas with Jolly, is to like streamline that process.
Yeah.
Though my focus
the application process for
people, like managing that whole thing.
Yep.
Because it would be great if I just I had all my information there, right? My business name, my address, my phone number, my email, my photo, like whatever photos I need to do the jury process. And all I have to do is like click submit, and say I'm interested in this, and then not have to even enter credit card information. Like it's all stored in there, and it just bills me when I need to. And then I get an automated email saying, hey, we're about to bill you, like that would be awesome. And I bet the organizers would like something like that, because then they don't have to manage that whole process. My original target was going to be to do something like that for like the really small people who are still using, there's a lot of craft fairs that are still using paper applications. So like I have to print out the paper, fill it out, like print out images. Like there was one I had to, like send images of my work in, I just printed out on a piece of paper and put them in and sent it. And then like send a check and stuff. So most of those, like that one was for a PTO organization at a local school. So, I get it. Like they don't are going to take the expense of creating a website, but like, what if Jolly was that for them? Created that whole system and took a small portion of it of the fee or something, but like managed all that so they didn't have to. Especially because it's all volunteers running it. They're not paid. I'm sure they're just like PTO volunteers.
Yeah.
So that was always an idea for Jolly. And then it would be a place where me as a person, looking for craft fairs as a vendor could like go search for craft fairs on that thing, have a profile. When I want to apply, I just click apply and it sends all my information there. So, I felt that was a good link between like my idea of a place where you could find craft fairs, but then also easing that process of application and stuff. I just don't know if anybody considers it painful enough to warrant paying for it,
Yeah, and you'd be charging on the person who's running the craft fair side, right? And it's basically free to have a profile, but take a little bit of the commission or whatever. This is helpful. Now that I have so much more context about craft fairs, and obviously still know nothing, but have like so much more context. I can wrap my head around Jolly way better than I did months ago, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a good idea. I just don't know if it's enough of a pain point for people to use it.
Yeah.
Like, or is just having a jot form or a type form to collect the information enough, and that's essentially free to them. So yeah, is it a pain point enough to warrant paying for it? And I don't know the answer to the question. But what I've thought about doing is talking to some of the organizers that I now kind of have relationships with, and just see what their experience is like. Tell them I'm thinking about developing something in that space, and just help to understand what their process looks like, and how much time they spend doing that. Because they're a business, right? They're both, I think,
Oh yeah.
there's like a primary person that runs it, but I'm assuming they have other employees or something. But I mainly converse with the same two women who I know run their two respective organizations. And they might just get help from like their husbands or their kids or something. So I'm sure they'd love to save time on it, and are willing to spend probably a little bit of money to save time, I would think.
Who runs SOA? Like, how does that work? Is that this like? How does that work?
So there's an organization. They are like an organization, and you have to.
And they just rent out the space in the parking lot from someone else, and then they.
Yep.
Okay. It's not like a city sponsored thing, I guess is what I'm trying to get at.
They're not. I mean, they're not like a municipal.
Yeah.
Organization.
One of the things that kind of popped into my head. Sorry to keep talking about Jolly as if you had time to work on it, but is it potentially one of the value propositions is it actually like it makes it easier to start a new craft fair.
Yeah.
And so your target market isn't necessarily just folks who already have existing solutions. It's also saying like, by the way, small secondary towns, this is much easier to start your own craft fair now, or something along those lines.
Yeah. And I just wonder if it is like, so it totally varies. There's no standard. Like, there's definitely no standard of how it's done. I can tell you was it Open Market? I think so. They have an online form, and then I think it was all done through FreshBooks. So they like sent me an invoice through FreshBooks
Yeah.
to pay my four times. So it was like a relatively painless process. And then others, there's just been a mix. So I mean, the fact that there's no standard is definitely a helpful thing. But I do feel like, anybody who puts a website, I'm sure all the like Wix and Squarespace, you can do simple forms probably on there relatively easily, I would think. Even Card, you can build forms and have that data sent to Airtable or Google Sheets or something. I don't know where I'm going with that. I guess just to say, like, the alternative is the alternative that bad that somebody who wanted to start up a craft fair feels like there needs to be a solution.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. I don't think it's it's just it's a marketing problem. It's actually the technology isn't super challenging.
Yeah. And I will say there are solutions to the problem I am trying to solve. They're just not standard. So I think is it ZAG or something? Hold on, what's it called? Sorry, I know we're getting into the zapplication.org. So they're obviously a nonprofit. It's zapplication.org.
Does it say not secure on the?
I'm not having that problem, no. .org. Did you do .org?
Yeah, I did.
Try it's /index.php. What happens when I just type in?
Let me just use application. I think maybe I did 1P or something. I'm here.
Okay, so I would say they're a competitor. Like, they're trying to do they're doing what I'm trying to do, but they're not a standard by any means.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the only reason I found them is because there was one craft fair that I was looking at that referred to them. It wasn't even one I ended up doing. It was like, it's the Bar Harbor. They tend to be more art festivals in their Instagram, they have like 400 followers. So they're by no means huge, but it's where artists, their tagline, where artists and art festivals connect, artist spotlights, creative conversations. So I think they're more like art fairs, like fine art fairs, perhaps. But I don't see any reason why that you need to differentiate as far as this software would be concerned, right? Like between a craft fair and a fine art fair.
Yeah.
Um,
Cool.
but yeah, so there is something that exists out there. It's just, I would say, not big. But they have enough. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, at least 9 employees. They're a regional nonprofit art service organization dedicated to strengthening. So they're Western States Art Federation. But the event I was looking at is in Maine. So they must do events all over the US. But anyway, and then the other idea I had was sort of replacing Etsy or doing something like Etsy. But actually, somebody approached me at the craft fair, and they're doing a nonprofit, Boston-based, essentially a substitute for Etsy, where 100% of profits go to like like charities that help children, basically. I haven't looked at it or anything, but I need to follow up with it. I have their business card and stuff. So I probably will sign up for it just as like another.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Assuming there's not like a monthly fee or something, assuming it's just a portion of my sales. And then yeah. But so that was the other direction I had thought about going with it, is like trying to replace Etsy, not replace Etsy, but just do it slightly differently and like better facilitate the connection, but not be a middleman as much as Etsy is between the makers and customers.
Yeah. Yeah. I like the vagueness of just organizations that support children. Like, who doesn't like children?
They list the specific organization. I didn't
like no one yeah. That's funny.
Yeah, they gave me a postcard. The guy came around. I don't know what his role was on the team, but yeah, I'll check them out. I haven't looked at their website yet.
That's pretty cool.
But I have been thinking more recently about like how am I ever going to grow New England carving to be enough of an income to like replace my income? And it constantly sits in my head, because let's just say I sell, like, let's say on average I could do, $1,500 a weekend at a craft fair. Like, in order to make a decent salary, like how many I have to do more than one a week the whole year, right? Because even that is like what, 75 grand revenue, not even profit. Not to mention the fees for doing it, the cost of materials and the time and everything.
Yes.
So it's kind of like, how do I grow it ever to be a decent income?
That's what I mean. Like, I totally understand the investment in your craft fairs, because get your name out there. Hopefully you start to build a customer list, repeat customers, and hopefully it builds. But I think the wholesale thing has to be a huge component of your business to get there.
Yeah, I mean, it does, but then it's like, I'm gonna have to figure out production, because this is where I was thinking about with the rainbow thing, right? So I was cutting the rainbow. When I priced all my stuff, I really just accounted for like my setup time, like setting, opening the file, setting it up, cutting the wood, putting it in the machine, auto-focusing, starting the cut. And then like the time it takes when the laser cutter's done and I pull it off the laser and I have to punch out all the little pieces. And then, for the rainbow, I paint it and I have to assemble it. So like I accounted for all that time. But the rainbow, so I was doing 2 small rainbows, which I'm selling for $60 a piece. Just now I was cutting it. And it took, I think, between like an hour and 20 minutes and an hour and a half. And that's me sitting here at my desk looking at a camera like I could be working. But that's taking up my machine for an hour and a half and for $120 item. So like, that really limits my production ability. And so I didn't account for that in my prices. So it kind of leads me to the question of like, okay, well, how do I account for that in my prices? I think the answer is I need to raise the price on that item. Like, it's not sustainable at $60. And if I'm going to sell less of them, but like, I just think it isn't, because I compare that to the trivets, which take a lot less time to cut, and I sell those for $35. They're 2 layers, so it's the trouble with the rainbows is just the intricacy. Like, it's a really intricate design.
Yeah.
And that's why it just takes so long. And so the trivets are much less intricate designs. There's some of them that are intricate, which I think I'm going to take out of my thing. There's one in particular that's just too intricate, and people don't even like the design that much, so I just need to take it out of my rotation. And so focus on the simpler designs, I think, and just, yeah. So it just all got me thinking about like production and stepping up production. Like, I'm doing all this work to prep for these craft fairs, but like, even still, I'm not making enough to support myself ever, right? So like, how do I ever get to that level? And even if I start wholesaling, I could definitely up my income, but I'm going to hit a wall of production where I'm going to have to like invest in another laser cutter and then probably pay somebody to help come cut. And so I just like, there's going to be this really tough in between time if I do really try to take this full time, like where I'm just working all the time and still having to have a day job because I don't make enough to support myself. And so I don't know. Yeah, I'm feeling like a little disillusioned or down on that. I feel like right now for some reason. So, I mean, I think I'm not saying I'm going to change my course or anything. Like, I think I stay the course, but
Yeah.
it's something I really have to think about and figure out. So what it probably means is I need to drop to part-time, either at my current job or find a part-time job when I get to that level, right? And there's going to be some time where I have to balance that before I can go full-time in the business, or or get Jolly up and running. Because my hope is that if I could get Jolly up and running, it wouldn't be a ton of my time.
Yeah.
It would be a SaaS business, so it'd be a lot less time consuming, presumably.
Yeah.
And then if I could let that grow, then I could, have that as that was always the plan, right? Because I've had this feeling before of like, I don't see a path to New England carving ever being a full-time income. And I sort of pushed that aside, I feel like, a little bit, to like, well, when we started talking, it was kind of like, well, let's get it to grow, and then I'll worry about that later, like the fact that it may never be big enough, or it's going to be really hard to get it big enough.
Well, we also played around with some marketing that didn't seem to be the sustainable way. Like, because I mean, that was one of that was where we talked a lot about at the beginning, was how can we get more sales from your website?
Yeah.
And we've kind of gone away from that. But that is also, but yeah, it doesn't solve the problem if someone needs to cut these on a laser cutter.
Right. I mean, it does help with the profit margins being higher on the website than if I did wholesale, but there's still time that's spent like it's time consuming packing and shipping an order, right? So to be able to do that wholesale is much better. I mean, I think wholesaling the earrings, which I'm not doing yet, but in the bookmarks, is a good strategy, because those do, there's no assembly time really. As long as the cuts go well, there's no like poking, I can cut it such that I don't have to poke out. But when the cuts don't go well, I do have to sit there and like poke out all the pieces that don't get fully removed from the cut. So anyway, I can mass produce them, right? So when I do a cut, I have a 22 by 24 inch sheets of the wood paper. So I can cut essentially 12, 36 bookmarks at a time on a cut. But that still probably takes a good amount of time because some of them are pretty intricate. So I don't know. Yeah. But at $3 a piece, that's like almost $200 from a single cut, which is better than anything else I make, basically.
Yeah.
So there's nothing else I make that would probably collectively fetch that much money from a single cut on the machine.
How many bookmarks do you get again? You sell them for $6 to $8?
I sell them for $6 at craft fairs. I may raise that price to $7, but I wholesale them for $3 right now.
Okay. How many you get on a cut? I have my calculator.
I think it's 36. Because that's like the maximum. So I would actually have to size them down just slightly, because they're exactly 2 inches by 7 inches. But I could like size them, 98%, so that I could fit, because it's 24 inches wide. So that way I could fit 12 instead of 11 on that width, and then 3 high. If I had designed them smaller, then it could be more than that. But that's the design I went with.
Well, yeah, if you made them an inch high, then you could do even more at some point. At some point, it has to be a bookmark.
I mean, there are some like that are an inch thick, and then 1 by 6 was probably a pretty standard size, and so that would get me twice as many bookmarks if I did that, right? More than that almost. But I probably won't change the design. The material cost on the bookmarks is actually really cheap. I think the material cost is like 30 cents a bookmark.
Cool.
So my markup is pretty decent on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, so I think I do still think that's a good path to the wholesaling is bookmarks. And then if I could do more earrings, because my profit margins are good on those as well. It's just the time to produce those. There's time.
Those you need to string and stuff, right? That's what you're talking about. Like you need to, with the earrings, like you need to actually connect things to the wood.
Yeah, so I use like a jump ring, and then I have the earring hook. So I open the jump ring, put the dangle on, whatever it is, the wood paper, and then put the earring hook on, and then close the jump ring. So that's assembly. And then I put it on the earring card and put it back on it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's assembly for a pair of earrings. So it probably takes me per pair maybe 3 minutes, probably less than that. And I could get better at it. There may be ways I could also streamline that. I don't know. It could be something where like I look into jewelry designers. Like there may be ways to streamline that. I don't know, but yeah, right now it's probably like 2 to 3 minutes per earring pair.
I wonder if in the end it's going to be a mix between like bookmarks, earrings, and just like dope ass giant pieces that you just sell for a shit ton of money.
It could be. And I think trivets are a good one for me too. I think so. I sold 3 of those last week. I think I sold 2 the weekend before. So I think those are a decent way, and they're functional, so people want, people get them. And so yeah, but I think there could be something to that, because like I sell the small animals, but my profit margins aren't great. I mean, I do the pricing, but like the big stuff I could probably price such that my profit margins would be much higher. And they could be more like one-offs. So I definitely see a path of what you're talking about. Yeah, like wholesaling small stuff that's easily reproducible, and then also doing more like big art pieces. And there sort of being that dichotomy. Yeah.
I feel like that would be a life that would be pretty solid. Like you'd get to work on like cool art and also get to build a business. And I don't know. It's from what you've said, it sounds like that. If that wouldn't be a bad life if that could work out.
Yeah, I agree. So I think my strategy for the wholesaling, I think I will do the bookmarks. I think the next might be earrings, though I feel like there's more I need to learn about that market. And so I think I'm only going to learn by going and approaching stores. And then the next thing would be trivets, unless I do the trivets before the earrings, because I think that's just a nice standard. Like they're all the same size. I can do a ton of different designs, and it's relatively simple design. So right now I have 14 trivet designs, but I could easily like make a huge number, right? I could make that more. The only thing the trivets is I do compete. There is another laser cut wood. Not that this has to do any has to stop me, but there is another business up in Maine that he does bowls and trivets, and coasters are kind of his main pieces that he sells. And he wholesales in a lot of places around here. That's the one I said I found his shop list and like saved all the shops to go try to sell them on other stuff I make. But yeah, but trivets seem like a good thing to potentially go wholesale.
I think my brain is now, and we can talk about this after the hectic weeks you have coming up, but my brain's on exploring. So the mass marketing strategy hasn't quite worked out. Maybe there's a couple lever to check, but like the sales of like this like super high-end brand one-offs, like artwork for like people who just don't even know what to do with their money. There might be something there.
And yeah, I think then it would no longer, that wouldn't be New England carving. That would be Alec Danner, the artist,
Yeah.
probably. And then New England carving would be sort of just like the steady
Yep.
income.
Yeah. Yeah. Is that something you're interested in?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. Like, I feel like I don't know where I'm going with it. So like this art show I'm doing, the one, the
Yeah.
Woodford, I feel like that'll be, I want to see how that goes. I want to
Yeah.
see what people are interested in. I'm going to try to do some bigger pieces. You know, the stuff I'm making now, like, I don't know that I could fetch thousands of dollars in it ever, right? But so like, I don't know, what would I have to do to make the things worth that much money, right? So there are laser cut artists that do fetch thousands or tens of thousands of dollars for their big pieces, which are like 13 layers, super intricate designs that they spent a lot of time on. They're probably not, they're probably doing like limited release. So like doing 10 of them.
Yeah.
Um, and
Have
those
you,
are really good. I don't know if I ever want to get that intricate. I don't know if I have the patience to like sit there and do that level of intricate detail. And I just don't know if that's my interest area. I kind of like the slightly simpler designs that are easier to produce, I think.
I was even thinking of like just throwing ideas just all over. I was even thinking of like people are almost paying for the consulting around it. So like perhaps like I don't know, this is just like me watching too many TV shows of people in Bel Air or whatever buying really nice houses. But like there's interior designers and oftentimes they're putting together pieces that like want to make a home feel like it's completely unique. Um, and like offering like Alec Danaher like consulting services, creating like, or not necessarily consulting service, that sounds lame, but like creating like a piece that just works really, really amazingly well and is unique to a home. It doesn't necessarily have to have a million layers. It just needs to work extra well and like
Yeah.
mean something to perhaps the home buyer or the owner. Um, I could see something there. I don't know.
I don't know if I feel like I'm skilled enough to do that, to like make that thing that fits perfectly in a space or something. I feel like I'd have to definitely practice that skill and like come up with, yeah.
I feel like it's bullshitting sales, which is like something that I like kind of like doing. I'm just like, oh, I can bullshit sales. Like, yeah, sure. I'm not a designer, but I could sell you like um, so I don't know.
I do
I'm
think,
just, again just throwing stuff against the wall, but it's something that popped into my head.
well, I think what I should try to do. So in the past, I've done, I think we've talked about this. I've done custom orders, but
Yeah.
I've essentially priced them as if you just bought a pre-made design and I was
Yeah.
making it for you. Like, so I didn't price them near high enough. And so I'm wondering if what I need to do is offer the commission. So it's commission essentially is what you're talking about. Like
Yeah.
somebody would commission me to create art. So
Yep.
maybe I do start doing commissions. I need to like learn how that works, that process works, but advertise it as a service that's expensive, that's like higher end. And the thing is like, okay, how do I get to the level to demonstrate that value so that somebody would actually pay, thousands of dollars, say, for a piece, a unique piece? Because I can't do custom orders or commissions with the prices that I'm doing
Oh
it.
no. Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking at least, yeah, definitely thousands.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And I think I need to figure out like wood, like nail down what woods to use and things like that to like actually create something that feels like it's that valuable.
Dude, just like that, just having that conversation. I don't know. This is my salesiness getting into me, but like having that conversation with someone that's like what you sell is like what would and like what makes what would make this piece specific to you. And I don't know. It's like
Yeah.
it's like there are reasons people put giant bear heads on their walls. Um, and it's not necessarily because they love the look of a bear head, it's because they want it to say something about them.
Right.
Um, I don't know.
Yeah. I think I just need to maybe it's just confidence. Like maybe I need to gain more confidence before I feel comfortable doing something like that. But
It's way easier for me to say this than to do it. Like if you like if you were like, why don't you go up to people and try and sell your services of like web development or whatever, I'd be like, ah. So it's way
yeah,
easier to dish it out than it is to take it.
but my hope is like maybe this Wickford thing will open up that
Yeah.
opportunity.
Yeah.
So I need to, yeah, I need to kind of just learn that world a little
Yeah.
bit,
Yep.
and so I can show that I know what I'm doing. But so I should be ready for like that question to come about. Like, do you do commissions at that fair? Like that could happen.
Yeah.
And so I need to be prepared with an answer of, I mean, yes, I do, but I also need to be prepared of like, here's how the process works. Here's maybe how much it would cost roughly, kind of thing. Or, I wouldn't quote them right there, then and there, but be kind of prepared with an idea in my head.
Yeah.
But also, I think I need to create more work that would invite that a little bit. And that may just be one-off pieces, that I create. And maybe that's the thing, is start creating more like one-off pieces that are unique and make it clear that it's unique, that that's the only one I'm creating or something.
Yeah. Yeah, that seems like a nice, at least gateway in.
Yeah.
As if we had unlimited time.
Yeah.
I feel you on that.
But yeah, I mean, I still do want to do Jolly. Like even talking about it just now gets me excited. I just don't know how to balance it right now. I don't know how to balance that with my day job and then with doing carving.
Yeah.
So I have to just think through. I don't know. I feel like I just have to get through. But I say get through, but like, well, July and August, I'm pretty light. I didn't schedule a lot of fairs, so I will have a break then, and I can kind of get back into doing some maybe Jolly work or focusing more on online orders or doing new designs or something like that.
Yeah.
So I'll see how this first part of the year goes, through that Wickford Art Festival, and then kind of decide what to do.
Cool.
In that time.
Cool. Sweet.
All right. We talked a lot about my stuff. Anything else you wanted to talk about?
I'm pretty, so last week I feel like I was pretty down on, and this week I'm pretty up, all fucking over the place. So I'm on it's weird. I don't know what changed, but I think I'm like actually just working a lot more on the product and actually like seeing it come lot. Like my goal from last 2 weeks to now is to get the budget your trip thing, the estimating a budget for a trip like working, and like I got that done in a week and it looks good. It's like pretty damn accurate. Not perfect, but it's pretty accurate. And explains well how the estimates are made, which is the important part that people want to know is like, okay, like, can I trust these? How much of these should I edit? They're easy. It's really easy to edit. We've got kind of a backlog of pretty interesting functionalities I'd like to add in. Getting some people to, including yourself, to send those budgets. I finally got a time to kind of look at them side by side. And like pretty much everyone's using Excel or Google Sheets, basically.
Yeah.
And it's
sorry, did other people have more like true budgets? Because mine was more like a trip plan.
Most people had a plan, so that I only got like 5 or 6. One was like one in particular was a true budget. It was like definitely like a template or something in Excel. It was Excel, not Sheet. But like the sheets work pretty well, and it popped into my head to have that, like, I won't do this when I launch, but there's APIs that you can basically just export your trip that you create and stow away to a Google Sheet. And so at the end of this, like, it's like, great, we'll help you budget, but also like, if you want to, click a button and we'll share a sheet with you that uses what I learned from, how people plan, which is not just days, but like hours in the day or like sections in the day as the rows.
So you had some of that.
Yeah.
So I always felt like I wondered if people were as like detailed as I was with my plan. But it sounds like people were even more detailed. Some people.
Well, so part of this too is like the people who are on, like I'm always I try to stay a little skeptical. The people who are on the customer board are like, they're not necessarily the target demographic that I'm going after. Target demographic is younger than the folks on the customer board. And also they're wealthier and people on the customer board than the folks I'm going after. And they are also all like working like business professionals,
Okay.
business people. Because it's all like connections I made through like friends who, are in similar industries as me and stuff like that. So part of it is like the people who sent them to me, like the 5 or 6 people, are people who, use Excel on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So it's a skewed sample, I think,
Okay.
compared to most people. But I think there's still some learnings even among those folks. And also trips I've been a part of that we planned as groups in Google Sheets, or email. It was really helpful. Someone sent me like an email for a bachelorette party in Miami, which is just like how everything was organized and basically like bullets stuff. So
Okay.
and now for my next bachelorette party in Miami, I know exactly what to do.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Need like what, penis glasses and
Yeah. Wait. Oh, penis. They say classes.
tape glasses.
Yeah. Yeah. No. So I'm feeling pretty good. It's going too smoothly. I'm going to hit a giant snag. The question is, what's the snag going to be?
Yeah.
We'll see.
Good.
But I really hope that by the time I come back, actually, can I show you real quick my timeline?
Sure.
And I just want you to kind of see if there's anything in there that you think my priorities are off or something I should bring up or pull down. All right, let me share this. Can I just share a tab? It's kind of annoying that you can't just share a tab. All right, let's see. Is this can you see this pretty well?
Yep.
So this is my super dumb project management software. I'm literally using like 4 project management softwares for something else, and then I'm just using this but it's working.
Nothing
And
wrong
I
with
just
that.
go in every day and just update what my new estimate is. Like this started at 21 days, and I've been significantly like knocking it down.
Okay. So
I add
are you working on this every day? I'm just kind of curious. Are these
yeah.
consecutive days generally?
So there's usually a day in the weekend that I'll only spend like an hour or 2, maybe 2 or 3 hours. so pretty much every day, but some days more than others for sure. And never more than, I rarely get the chance to spend more than 5 hours on it a day.
Okay.
That's pretty rare. And it's the median is probably 3, 4. But I realized that I wanted to switch from email authentication to phone authentication. And so this was a new high priority item that I added this week for security purposes. So I'm really trying to just
authentication, or
sorry.
Phone meaning like SMS authentication.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to like really isolate anything that could any security thing that could ever go wrong. And, I'll have like Face ID recognition in there, or thumbprint if actually, yeah, Face ID because it's an iPhone. But also it's easier to steal someone's email. I was looking into any of the vulnerabilities that are possible with Firebase, and there is one that's sort of possible, and it's just the brute force attack. And you can't brute force the phone authentication on Firebase. So, And I benchmarked against a couple others who are doing it that are that are basically, in the same industry. But I think I've never done it before. And so I think it's going to take a decent amount of time.
Are
7
there a
might
lot
be
of
an
those?
overestimate, but I don't think it'll be nothing.
Have you done the research to know like how to do it?
Yeah, I did. It's still a Fire-based service,
Okay.
which is good because I wanted to keep it in the family, and that's really important to me.
Yeah.
And I watched a video, some dude in India doing it, and it didn't look super hard, but just because I haven't done it, I think how do you handle like you lost your phone or something like that? How am I going to handle that? So I need to add in unknown trip. Like I just want to save for travel. Don't know where to go yet.
Okay.
And I think that's literally just going to be the flow of like set up an account but I think that's going to be, a few
And then
days.
maybe set your budget or something, right? Like I want to save $1,000 or something, right?
Well, that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. I honestly haven't put a ton of thought into this part of it, but yeah. Um, the settings is what are analytics, crash analytics. This is important. And then adding an affiliate. This is the stuff that I expect that I want to get done for launch. The one thing that I'm a little bit is alerts and email automation. Like this, like should be a really high priority. Something I learned from the user interview exchange is that like, how do you increase engagement? You just send people emails and alerts like that are relevant. And especially when I go to like the cash flow stuff, and some of this is based off of like what percentage convert, like this number right here. What percentage convert to getting a new savings account? Like you can increase that with alerts and emails and, inviting people back into the app and more people who sign up using it. So I think it's a really important thing. I just don't know if I have the time to get it launched, and theoretically I can launch without it. And then there's some other stuff in here, but.
So there's a few things I think in your medium that I would move down, probably, if it were me.
Yeah.
The Google Sheet from a budget. If that's actually 5 days of work, I feel like you could move that down
to
a low. Yeah. I was like waiting for you. You don't have to do it. This is my thought.
So,
and then
but you think it's a lower priority because you think it's easy to do, or because you think that it's just like not part of the core of what this business does?
Yeah, I just feel like it doesn't need to be part of the core. Like you're not going to lose customers because you don't have it.
Yeah.
And then the couples one, you said that was something that people wanted, right? Like that was something a lot of people asked for.
It was a major learning from usability testing and user interviews. So people don't budget alone, they budget with someone else. Yeah, or they don't save alone, they save with someone else.
So what is the feature then?
Some way to I haven't fully fleshed that out. But I think it would be basically you each say it's a couple. You each still own your own travel bucket, but like you can see them together next to each other in the app. I don't know.
Okay.
Clearly, I haven't thought about it enough, but I know that it's like an important thing. I don't know, but I believe it is an important thing.
So where did 14 days come from?
I feel like if you gave me 14 days, I'd figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, I feel so. The reason I feel like that one could be a low as well, but I do know I remember you saying that it was in your user interviews. It came up as something important. So without knowing exactly what it is you're trying to do,
It's also, I think it's important because so like people budget together, and like having this as like a something you do together, sharing your finances, I think is could be helpful. But also the if you've got two people saving for a trip, you have a more expensive trip and therefore a bigger um, referral on my end. And I think it's like, yeah, it's basically a marketing channel.
okay.
That's my thinking.
And let me see the. I mean, I would think at least that the track prices integration. I don't know. I was going to say the track prices integration and the where your fund can take you feature maybe should be higher than the couples budgeting, in my opinion. But I don't know. I'm missing. I think you obviously think that's important. So based on your research and stuff. So uh, yeah, I think it's good.
I think where your fund can take you is like definitely very important, because right now, if I only launch with high priority, I totally forgot about this when I was shit. The only way I'm making money is if someone gets a savings account. I'm not actually making money as an affiliate travel.
Why?
Because no features in here actually share, like, go to Expedia and check out this trip. Shit. Well, I have 9 extra days down here. This is my extra time.
Yeah. So how does that math work? So what are the?
Oh, so this is going to July 1, days from today to July 1.
Okay.
And then this is the sum of the high priority stuff.
Okay.
And then this is
The difference.
the difference, yeah. And then this right here, 80 negative 87 is if I was to do everything. If I was to
Okay.
do everything, I would launch 3 months later, but damn, it'd be a good app.
Okay. So yeah. So what would your 9 days be then? What would that next feature be to try to actually generate some revenue?
I think where your fund can take you.
Okay.
But it's tough because it's like technically I could do, because I can't budget, because alerts and email automation, that's a 7-day project. That would actually be within the budget of time. And that would increase engagement, which would perhaps improve referral bonuses. But where your fund can take you is like a whole new channel of referral. But it's not with it, but it actually, if 21 days is a real estimate, then it's not.
Is it worth spending a little bit of time to get a better to see what that if that estimate's accurate? You know what I mean? Like taking a day to plan for it,
Yeah,
researching and seeing how long you actually think it's going to take.
yeah. I actually did that a little bit today, and with actually digging into what APIs Expedia has for their affiliates. And I found one that I was like, ooh, this could actually work pretty well. Um, and so digging into how do I get approved for that is where I'd spend my time.
Sorry,
Yeah.
can you hang on a second?
Affiliate. Affiliate. I gotta get this down to 5 days.
All right, sorry about that.
Worse. I just moved my phone authentication down to 5 days. I'm feeling confident
Okay.
from 7, but maybe 20. Yeah, maybe 22. So what is it? It would need to get down to 11 days from 21. Doable. I think it's doable.
Do you think the add an affiliate, the bank account's actually going to be 14 days? I just noticed that's a lot higher than a lot of the other ones.
No, I don't think so. Let's bring that down to 10. Yeah, the thing is, there's unknowns, so many unknowns.
Yeah, what you might want to add here is a column for date, like the due date essentially for each thing,
Oh yeah.
which you could just do the math, right? Of back it up from
Yeah.
that date
I feel
potentially.
like, okay, yeah, I'll do that off screen. So doing shitty Excel coding. All right, and then so this needs to get down to 15.
You just make that a sum if.
Where am I? So this needs to go. It's B9. I officially have absolutely no wiggle room. All right.
But you could get yourself days if things take less time than you expect them to.
Yep. That's what I'm hoping. That's what I'm hoping. But there's going to be times that, yeah.
Yeah, so throw the due dates in, and then we can see how you're doing during these calls or something, just to see if you're on track.
Yep. Yep, I'll do that. Yeah, I think that'll actually be good. These spreadsheets, this is stuff that's just so obvious. I just should have done a million years ago, like the budgeting and the planning, which is like stuff that I do just in a normal day job.
Right.
But yeah. So cool. Well, I'll look forward to updating you on where I am next week. Hopefully one of these will be done.
Yeah.
Hopefully part of the payment integration at least. Yeah. The thing I was pretty stoked about, actually, what was kind of funny is I opened up a video of my app that like help people optimize their credit cards.
Mhm.
And I had taken a video of it and I looked at it and I was like, damn, that app was just done. Like that's like a good app and it's just done. And like I just never, yeah, just didn't make it out there. But I think a lot of it could be leveraged, which is good.
And why didn't it make it out there?
It was mainly because the data that it was built on top of was way too shaky. I just felt so unconfident in it.
Oh yeah.
Because I was scraping. It was scraping and doing math of stuff I scraped that was scraped from other stuff.
Okay.
And like it was just like, is this how I'm gonna end up running $1 million business? Like many like no, like this isn't sustainable.
Right.
If that's the core component of the business. If it's a side component of the business and you can learn and you can start to make predictions off of it, great. So yeah. But a lot of it can be leveraged.
Good.
All right. Anything else you want to talk about today?
I don't know. I feel like what's on my mind is just like you said you were feeling good this week. I feel like Monday and Tuesdays for me are like my down days emotionally. I feel like and then like Wednesdays I usually kind of perk up. So I don't know what causes that, but that's like the beginning of the week thing. And but I am feeling so I'm feeling better today than I was the last 2 days, but I'm still feeling like I talked about, just like a little worried I'm not on the right path kind of thing. Um, but I feel like I shouldn't change my strategy yet. Like I should keep doing this and then hoping that the path kind of shows itself as I go. But it's mainly the path to making money, right? So like making enough money to actually support myself from it.
Yeah. We haven't made life easy on ourselves. like like we don't have to do these things, but
Right.
like we do. But yeah.
Yeah.
And
Why couldn't I just be happy having a 9 to 5 job? I
yeah,
don't know.
yeah, yeah. I'm gonna stop the recording for a second because I'll say something off.